What's up, people? You are listening to Pop Culture Junkie Podcast, and today's episode is our final Samuel L. Jackson 101 lesson. This week, we dive into the superhero and supervillain origin story, Glass.
Fill me up with a barrel full of monkeys, as I hate being bored, I hate being bored. Load me up, cause I'm such a junkie. Every day all I want is more. So entertain me right now. So entertain me right now.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Pop Culture Junkie, recorded, as always, at Olympus Games in Mesa, Arizona. This is your boy, Alex, and with me are Junkies,
Nicole,
and Hayley.
This week, we have our final Samuel L. Jackson 101, and we take a look into the movie Glass. This one is the third in M. Night Shyamalan's superhero trilogy, following Unbreakable in 2000 and Split in 2016. This movie brings together the characters from those movies and a final battle between good and evil, and more evil.
That was nice. That was a nice intro.
Well,
like I was listening to an audiobook.
Well, yeah, let's dive into the movie. All right, first, have you guys all seen the Unbreakable and Split?
I haven't. No, I just kind of watch this one and hope for the best.
Yeah.
I've seen Unbreakable, but I had not seen Split, so this is my intro to that character.
I see, yeah. I've seen both Unbreakable and Split. And to me, when I was coming into this movie, I was like, oh, you don't really need to watch those movies. But watching it again, I can see how much more helpful to the whole story those movies would be. And so, yeah, if you haven't watched Glass is the third part of this trilogy, this M. Night Shyamalan trilogy. And Unbreakable is the first one with, like, Bruce Willis, and he's, like, this unbreakable man or whatever. And, like, then there's Split, and that's where James McAvoy leads the role out of Kevin Wendell. And it's, like, this psycho sort of, like, not psycho like he's crazy. I mean, I guess he's...
Yeah, I mean...
But, well, this is a guy with these split personalities.
Yeah.
And then Glass, who's played by Samuel L. Jackson, or Mr. Glass, or I forget what his name is. What's his name?
Elijah, right?
Elijah, that's
it's
right.
Elijah, yeah, but he wants to go by Mr. Glass.
Yeah. To me, this movie I enjoyed, I don't know, because we talked about recently about how superhero movies are kind of just like the same thing over and over again, and kind of just like the fantasy. I'm kind of getting over it. But this kind of brings superheroism, I guess, into an understandable world, in a sense.
A little more real.
Yeah, something I can more so relate to. And not saying that I didn't relate to, like, you know, the Marvel MCU or like DC, DC or whatever.
But yeah, those are more like fantastical, like
yeah.
Thor takes place, whatever in outer space. Like this is just like normal people in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and the thing about this movie is that it's influenced by comics. Like Elijah, he's influenced by comic book heroes. And this kind of felt more as like a real world sort of story. And it's like, yeah, it's an origin story. I didn't know it was an origin story until the third movie. So
yeah, what's interesting to me about this movie, so I saw Unbreakable, but I saw it probably back in like 2004 or 2005. So a few years after it had come out. And I remember not loving it at the time, but I also don't think I was looking at it as like a superhero movie. I was just looking at it as like a weird M. Night Shyamalan movie.
yeah.
And this is obviously pre-Iron Man. So Iron Man came out in 2008, right?
Okay.
So in a way, you could say that Unbreakable paved the way.
Maybe.
For
sure
this,
there's others.
MCU. But yeah, it was weird to see that this was connected to that movie because I never thought that movie was very good.
The way I saw it was I watched Split first.
Oh, okay.
And I loved James McAvoy. And I was like, I need to know more about where this story comes from. I need to know more about Kevin Wendell. And so then I saw that Unbreakable was out there and I watched it. And I didn't know that it was sort of a superhero thing until really getting into it in Glass.
Yeah.
Because to me, in the first two, I didn't really know whether these things, like these powers per se, were like accidents and stuff. And even in this movie, they're in a psych ward kind of examining their strengths. So you're still questioning, like, do they actually have superpowers?
Yeah.
But yeah, I know, Nicole, you're not, I guess we kind of feel the same in terms of like Marvel and how fantastical it is.
Yeah.
I want to get your opinion on like having a superhero quotation mark movie in this sort of setting.
So for me, I actually enjoyed this movie. I was coming into it thinking I wasn't going to, I guess, because I didn't have the background of the other two movies to go from, or just kind of a sense of what this movie actually was. And then to find out it was a superhero movie, I don't know, I liked it. And I'm like, this is the kind of superhero movie that I would actually watch because, like you said, it's real people, I guess, rather than it kind of being more animated or fake superhero type movies, whereas the Marvel ones are to me in a way. So I don't know. I just really enjoyed these types of movies, I guess, too. Kind of like the, I don't know, thriller, crime type movies. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I could definitely sit down and watch another superhero movie like this. So I might have to go back and watch Unbreakable and Split.
I was just going to ask.
Yeah, I definitely will now that I've watched this and I have some downtime coming up. I'll have to watch it, especially Split, because I would know that was not, I don't know if it was popular, but
I remember it.
Yeah, and I would even say it's probably the best out of the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they focus so much on Kevin. I think he's the most interesting character.
Yeah, that's the movie that I recognize the most out of this list. Like, to be honest with you, I didn't even know Unbreakable and Split were part of this trilogy. I thought Split was just its own movie, so I will definitely have to go back and watch all three to actually get the background. But I was able to understand the story without watching the previous two of Glass. Some parts were a tad confusing, but I was able to kind of pick up the pieces and put it all together.
They actually used some footage from Unbreakable that was unseen as one of the flashback scenes.
Was it the carnival one or no? I don't know. I
think
just
it was
remember
the one where
Elijah on the carnival ride and he like breaks.
No, I don't think it's that one. It was the one with Bruce Willis, like in his son. Like David and
where he was like telling him to be quiet. Or
so I guess when he's like, I'm
okay.
going to keep your secret. I guess that was released in the movie.
Okay,
So that was some cool.
I like the flashback because it. So one of the things that like I liked about this was that it has all of the same cast members from the previous films. And if you're bringing a movie back, I mean, this is 19 years after Unbreakable. And so to be able to not only go back and get Bruce Willis, but to also get the same actor who played his son to come back and be in that movie, I was like, that's cool. If nothing else, I appreciate the continuity. Unbreakable came out at a time that was kind of like M. Night Shyamalan's renaissance of film, where he was putting out a bunch of movies and like some were really good and some were not. I think this is the one that immediately followed up Sixth Sense, but I think I didn't like it so much because I was comparing it to The Sixth Sense, which is to me like a flawless movie still to this day. So good. And so then I watched Unbreakable and I think I wanted more of that and I didn't get it. And M. Night Shyamalan's famous for like his twist endings, you know, and again, they've been like some good, some not so good. And I just felt like Unbreakable. I kept waiting for like a really cool twist ending and something really cool. And I don't know, I just wasn't super into it. So I wasn't expecting to like Glass. I think I like it more than I expected to. Having not seen Split, I feel like that probably impacted it a little bit. Maybe I would have liked it a little more if I would have went back and watched Split. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'll talk more about it when we rate the movie. There were a few things I didn't like.
No, I feel you. I feel because this is the second time I watched it. I only watched it once. I don't feel like I ever wanted to watch it again. And before I watched it that first time, I came in like, I'm not sure. I watched Split already. And, you know, I watched Unbreakable. It's the same universe. All right, fine, I'll watch it. That's how I felt. And then I was like, oh, wow. I think because I had low expectations, now that I'm thinking about it out loud, that I'm like, okay, this is good. But even still, though, I like how the movie kind of goes into that question, like, how powerful can our minds be? Like, if we tap into our minds, because you know the whole thing, like, oh, we only use a certain percentage of our brains. Imagine if we kick that up a notch and what sort of things we can tap into. And I don't know, I'm into thinking that kind of stuff because in a way I feel like it's possible, you know, do some meditation or something, like connect yourself with something else, but here still.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the thing about connecting it back to like the realism and stuff. But it's funny though too, because watching this movie, Samuel L. Jackson doesn't come in until all the way in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
And I was upset at Captain Marvel.
Same reason.
Yeah.
Because like he took forever to get there. And for some reason I imagined Samuel L. Jackson being in this movie the entire time.
Probably because it's called Glass, which is like him. And I had the same thought. I was like, this movie is named after him, and yet he's still not really like the main character. Mm-hmm. I think he only gets the title credit because of what happens at the end of the movie. Is like because it's all him.
That's fair. I was saying before, this is a Samuel L. Jackson movie. He comes in almost halfway through. And then after that, he doesn't talk for like another 30 minutes. I thought we were watching like a silent Samuel L. Jackson movie where he just doesn't talk. I'm like, okay, cool. This will be a great rating, a 0 for his acting.
He's really good in that.
He's just in the chair the whole time.
I was like, okay, that's cool. But
yeah, it was weird. So, I mean, I guess to recap the plot or like to sum it up real quick, right? So you've got David Dunn is Bruce Willis's character from Unbreakable, right? And he is like this vigilante out in a raincoat, stopping bad guys, called the Overseer is what people call him, right? And then you've got Elijah, who's Samuel L. Jackson, or Mr. Glass, which it's cheesy.
He breaks easy.
But right, he breaks easy, and he was in Unbreakable. So, and he was the foil to David in Unbreakable. Like he was like the opposite to him, the opposition. So he's back now to serve as that opposition. But then you throw James McAvoy in the mix as this weird split personality. And then you also have Sarah Paulson, who is the psychiatrist lady who captures the three of them and puts them into this facility. And basically the plot of the movie is she's just gaslighting them the whole time, telling them that they're not special and they don't have these powers and they're just normal and everything can be explained away with some anomaly. And they start to kind of believe her, but then it's Elijah, it's the Glass character that uses his mind, which is his superpower, evidently, to convince both of them, McAvoy and Willis, that they are, in fact, special. And he tries to get them to break out so they can go and fight at Nakatomi Plaza or whatever it was called. The tower, I don't know. So everybody can see their physical prowess and their superpowers. And then it ends up at the end of the movie... spoilers for Glass in 3, 2, 1.
We spoiled every movie.
I know, yeah. So yeah, at the end of the movie, they all freaking die. Yeah. I was really upset.
I was too.
I was like, I wish I would have known the end when I started watching the movie, because then I think I would have maybe not been as annoyed with the ending.
You know, I remember watching it the first time, and I felt that way. But watching it the second time, it makes sense to me. Because, you know, it's... What she said at the Sarah Paulson, she was like, it was a suicide mission. Like, this was supposed to happen all along to birth. And this is like the origin story, because we've already been through Unbreakable and Split. We already have an idea as to who these people are. And so when you're talking about the origin story, I feel like it's the origin of every person that's watching this video and seeing that, you know, whatever they have that might be a gift is probably their superpower. So I think it's the origin story of every person that's watching his master plan, that where he eventually like was able to record. You know, they didn't go to that tower; they were there in the facility, and he like used the cameras and stuff to record them like fighting, doing this duel and like lifting trucks.
Part of his plan all along.
Yeah, and to me, having them kind of just like rest, I guess, to like just serve their purpose. I guess this is why Glass is evil. Like, he used these guys' lives for that message. That was his choice. It wasn't their choice.
Yeah.
You know, they had sons and girlfriends, I guess. Or like just people that they had in their lives that they loved. But even at the end, they were still okay with it because they didn't just die.
The world found out the truth about them.
Exactly.
Like, I thought it was particularly poignant, like the son, Bruce Willis' son, like how meaningful it was to him that the world knew that his dad, in fact, had these powers, because he had to keep that secret for all these years. And not only that, but like repeatedly throughout the movie, he kept trying to tell people like, no, this is what he can do and go help him. And he has to stand there and watch his dad be killed. And so I felt like the vindication that he felt when he sees everybody watching these videos, I thought that was cool. And I thought too, like, Sarah Paulson talks about how, you know, she was going to go do this again. She was going to go find more special people and do the same thing and try to either convince them, you know, whatever, gaslight them or kill them. And that video took away her ability to do that, because now everybody knows that these people are real, and so she can't like work in the darkness or whatever. So ultimately, like Elijah ends up winning out against her in the end.
I know this is supposed to be Samuel L. Jackson, but I really, really want to talk about Sarah Paulson's character, Dr. Ellie Staple, because when I picture Sarah Paulson, I think of a character that she's trying to help in this movie. I think of her as like, I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but like the crazy person in the movies or the TV shows. Because when I think of her, I think of like American Horror Story.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I just think she plays such a great character in that sense. And then in this, I think she did a very good job in playing the one who's trying to, I guess, help people in a way. I don't know. I just thought her character was really well done.
And it's funny because is she a villain?
Right.
Is everybody just playing their role, but in any perspective, they could be the good or the bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to talk about the character of Casey for a second. So, having not seen Split, I went back and I watched like a recap. So, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong about this, but in Split, Kevin, right, or the multiple personality, kidnaps these girls, kills these girls. Casey is one of the girls that he kidnaps, but she's the survivor. And that's all I knew going into this, that he had kidnapped her and she survived. And so it was very jarring to see her like, can I talk to Kevin and I'm going to touch his hand and blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
What in the Stockholm Syndrome is happening? It was like really disturbing. So yeah, apparently, I don't know, some relationship developed
I didn't even
with
think
them.
of that. Yeah.
No, I thought of that too. And then the end where she like kisses his head or something.
Well, they
Like,
they
okay.
mention it for a very short, like for like really briefly, where she's like saying that they broke her, or like they're giving a reason as to why she lived.
Yeah.
And I guess like they relate, and like in the movie they do find a bond, but I didn't, because I watched
Right.
Split. I was like, oh yeah,
Because she went through trauma.
Yeah.
Because his whole thing is he like kills people who haven't been traumatized because whatever, they haven't suffered, so they need to suffer. And he finds out she suffered at the hands of her uncle, right? So he ends up letting her live. And I get like multiple personalities, right? Like I watch Moon Knight. I'm coming around to dissociative identity disorder and like what that means or whatever. And they use it as like to cope with their own trauma. And clearly his mom beat him and all this. So I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, that's the whole point of the Beast too.
But I don't think that I'd be able to forgive the dude who like kidnapped and tortured me.
Yeah.
And killed my friends, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I didn't think
I
that's what
don't
happened.
know. That was just, it was an interesting choice to have her be so invested in like his health and safety or whatever, because I was just like when we talk about them dying at the end of the movie and you're saying, you know, they finally kind of get peace or whatever, like there was no real other ending for his character, especially because if you have this, I mean, I know they kept trying to, Kevin needed to take over so he wouldn't let out the Beast. But like, was that going to happen in the long run? No. And even if he did,
Probably, because I think so. So this is why. So at the end, when he's revealed that Glass set up his father's death, you know, he then talks about how like, oh, I do this to protect Kevin. Like, I'm a protector. Like, it could be that if he stayed alive, maybe he would have been a superhero. Yeah. Like, maybe he would have been like somebody like where Kevin would be able to hone into these personalities and use them at their right time.
but he would have gone to prison because he's a murderer. So he never would have had that. And then we dive into a deeper discussion about like, being able to reform people and whatever. Yeah, it was interesting. Oh, so that was the other thing. I kept waiting for some big twist ending. And I guess the twist was that they all die? Is that the twist?
I mean, I feel like there's several twists. They all die. Everybody finds out. You know, it was all a plan. It was like a plan within a plan.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Can we talk about Mr. Glass's costume for a second? Because that's my favorite part of the
For
movie.
real. If I'm going to cosplay, that's the one.
Dude, it was like in when we talk about like, realistic, whatever, like set kind of more grounded, like Bruce Willis just had this, I don't know, poncho or whatever. Like it wasn't much
It was
of
like
a
a
costume.
raincoat or something.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? But Mr. Glass had like a legit like suit. I was like, I was
He's been
feeling the
preparing for this,
supervillain
yeah.
thing.
He
I
got into it.
I don't know where I guess he must have snuck in and got that at some point.
That's right, because he was in the hospital the whole time. Like, where'd he?
Yeah.
Where'd that go? Was it under his pillow? Like,
Oh, no. It doesn't show him get it, but suddenly he's in the hallway and he's wearing it.
And he has a necklace that says MG for Mr. Glass or whatever
Yeah.
it was right
See,
here.
That was like a really well put together costume.
You've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
What's interesting, too, as a villain, I think he's kind of a weird villain. But as a villain, I do like that his motivation stems from a place of not only like loving comic books and the stories that they tell, but being the opposite of a superhero because he breaks so easily. And like, I don't know, the resentment that would come if that, you know what I mean? Like if superheroes were real and there were people that were, if I'm thinking about, you know.
No, I feel you. Like, for example, The Boys on Amazon Prime. Right now, there's like people that have different powers and, you know, some of them just really suck. Or even like My Hero Academia. There's like a guy that shoots tape out of his elbow. And so, yeah, it's like, oh, wow, my power is that I break.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah, that sucks.
That would make me mad.
But,
I'd probably turn into a villain.
Yeah, I'd live in a bubble.
Bubble boy.
Maybe made out of glass, like really hard glass, so that he can still keep his like name.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Mr. Glass was a really like villainous name though.
Yeah,
Like you have Dr. Doom and Mr. Glass. It sounded more like prestigious.
you don't even
Yeah.
see him. It's like, especially if it's like really clean, you know, it's just like a bird would just fly into it.
If he could turn invisible,
Can I be honest? Until he told Kevin or whoever he was at that point in time in the movie that he was Mr. Glass, I was like, oh, that's why the movie's titled Glass. I didn't realize that.
Waiting
It was
for
a
the
character's
reference.
name,
Yeah.
yeah. But it was all put together at that point in time, and I realized it.
Because like then again, it goes to like thinking whether this is all psychology or something. Because this kid like breaks easy, but you know, because he can't use his body, the thing that he could use and exercise more and more is his brain. And I think that's like where he was able to like develop that power at least.
Yeah. Manipulate people.
Yeah, just a mastermind.
Very true.
Interesting. What was your favorite personality of James McAvoy?
God.
That's hard. All right, so I like what's that? The 9-year-old kid.
Yeah, Hedwig.
Yeah.
Hedwig. I like Hedwig. I like the lady,
Patricia?
Patricia. Yeah, I like her. Yeah, those are probably my. You know, those. I mean, I guess they probably show up a lot too. I feel like they probably show up out of like most of his characters. But it's funny that if those are the characters that come to the light more often, this like kid who like, you know, just is playful and is curious and like see things the way they are, you know, as Glass told him, and this like woman Patricia, who's, you know,
The boss.
charming and yeah, like she's like dominant, and she's the one that was doubting, or at least you question whether or not she like. Are we real? Like, is he actually as strong as we feel he is? And, you know, the kid, like, just, I don't know. It's just like an interesting balance. And then you have Kevin, and then you have the Beast. And then, of course, you know, the other 20 different like people. That
Yeah. Yeah, I liked Hedwig. I especially liked his boy band dance moves. That was my favorite part. I thought he did really good, like, shifting between the different personalities. Like, they had different accents, different mannerisms, like his facial expressions, everything would change.
I agree. Hedwig was probably my favorite. I liked the beginning where he was like, the Beast can't see me in my roller skates, and he starts taking his roller skates off. I don't know. I thought that was, I know he's not a good person, but I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. But I mean, I'm not really familiar with him or his work. I'll be quite honest with you guys, but I thought his role in this movie was played very well by him.
Yeah, I don't know what movie I might have seen him in. I'm thinking of somebody. I mean, I always think of Edward Norton. For some reason, I feel like he would do something like that. I'd also think of Christian Bale, and even just, you know, Johnny Depp, I guess.
Johnny Depp, here's the thing. Okay, like...
Keanu Reeves.
I love a lot of Johnny Depp movies and, like, the characters that he plays, but it's time that we all, like, face facts that all of his characters are just different shades of the same color.
Yeah.
They're
exactly.
all him, just with, like, in a different costume and a slightly different accent or something, but it's
Yeah.
all kind of the same. I immediately went to Oscar Isaac just because
Oh, yeah.
we, you know, in Moon Knight, he does the same thing. He only has 3 personalities and you only see 2 for the majority of the show, but he does such a good job shifting back and forth between the two to the point where he doesn't even have to speak. And you can tell when the personality shifts just by the way he looks.
Yeah.
So I could, see him taking this on. But I know this is a Samuel L. Jackson movie, but I got to give props to James McAvoy because and he like transformed his whole body for this. Like I was like, dang, when did he get jacked? Because
I was about to say, I wonder what he had to do to prepare himself for this role.
I actually looked it up because
you?
I was curious because I'm a fitness junkie along with a pop culture junkie. He spent 4 months. He put on 16 pounds of lean muscle mass.
Oh, wow.
And, I'm used to seeing him in X-Men where he's in a chair.
He's Professor X.
Yeah. And, Hugh Jackman is the jacked man. But yeah, McAvoy got pretty freaking jacked for this. I was impressed. Yeah. And also it was a little creepy because there were times where his shoulders and his neck became the same thing.
I was wondering too, like there's a point at the end where like Casey's like hugging him and like his back is like all purple and stuff.
The
like
veins,
his veins are like just like, and then they like release, like they like disappear. I wonder if that was like, I'm sure that was
I think it was from when he became the Beast into when he became Kevin. Yeah. He became more relaxed.
Yeah, but like, do you think he did it naturally with his body? It's like he's so committed that he can like make his blood vessels move like a man.
Yes.
Yes, that is how committed he is. I do think that he was able to like kind of swell up a little bit because like when you would see him and he would like flex. Yeah. And I don't know how much of that, whatever was in post-production, but it was interesting to see him like normal and then flexed.
I can see the like mannerisms that he did for like the different characters too.
Or his werewolf run.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
The leap.
I was watching the ending, that last run like across the parking lot. I was watching that and I was like, man, he had to do that so many times.
It looks like
and
fun.
he's on wires and he's having to do it over and over and over again. I'm like, dang.
It probably is.
What a life.
I think that's possible. Somebody could do that, right? It's just
I
don't know.
No.
I don't know. It seems
maybe if they tap into that other part of their brain that you were talking about.
Yeah. We'll try it in the parking lot after recording.
All right.
Catch us at Olympus Games trying to run like werewolf.
We'll be on our Patreon.
Yeah. Yeah. So he did. So when even like before like doing that, he did this thing when he was the Beast, which like beat his chest, douche, and then he'd like attack, and then like Patricia would like just do like move her neck and keep her like chest closed or her like arms to her chest.
And at one point he was like the flirty teenager trying to get the guy to give him her insulin. I was like, what is this? The needle? That was a whole different personality. Yeah. And then he had like the twins on the bed that also only popped up for a minute. Yeah, it was crazy. I'm kind of fascinated by M. Night Shyamalan's career. He pulls a Alfred Hitchcock and shows up in the movie. Did you guys notice that?
I don't even know what he looked like. So
he was like the security guard at the very beginning.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't remember.
He thinks he's Alfred Hitchcock, so he puts himself into his own movies.
I mean, who does that? Quentin Tarantino does that too.
Yeah, true. And I mean, I guess Marvel did that for Stan Lee. He would show up in.
I mean, even Jon Favreau directed some of those movies and put himself in there.
Yeah, he's like a main character.
An elf.
That's the way to go, dude.
That's right, he's an elf.
That's the way to go. I mean, if you are at the helm, why not? Taika Waititi does that too.
Yeah, okay.
He puts himself in all of his movies. That's funny. Yeah, so have you guys seen other M. Night Shyamalan movies? Like, how do you feel like this compares to like his other movies?
I watched The Sixth Sense. I liked it.
Did you see it like when it came? Like, did you know the ending before you watched it?
I didn't. I kind of I probably under like maybe 20 minutes till the end. I was like, oh, this is what's happening.
Oh, you figured it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one. That was like a cultural moment. The Sixth Sense.
I see dead people.
Yeah.
Right. That's the one.
Yeah. It was. I don't know. I mean, it came out in '99, so I was like 11 or 12. I was 12 when I saw it. It was life-changing. It was really good.
I've avoided The Last Airbender. I have not seen that movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I've heard enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you guys checked out Servant at all?
Is this another M. Night Shyamalan?
Yes, but Servant is a series. It's a TV series on Apple TV.
Oh.
And my brother and sister-in-law are like obsessed with it. So they kept telling me to check it out. And I think it's in its like third season now.
Really?
Very like twisted, kind of dark, mysterious, like doesn't answer questions, doesn't explain things. So you have to be okay with that.
Ever?
I mean, not some.
Okay.
Some questions, but some are still just left like you just don't know. Left open to interpretation, I
So I
suppose.
stopped watching Castle Rock.
Oh, gosh. I hate Castle Rock. I hated Castle Rock. Yeah, I don't know. Servant, I guess, maybe is worth checking out. We only watched the first 2 episodes and got really weirded out, so we gave up on it. And then I just went back and I like read about them because I wanted to know what happens, but not enough to like actually watch it. But yeah, I was hardcore about M. Night Shyamalan. I loved Sixth Sense. I loved Signs. I loved The Village. And then I saw Lady in the Water and I felt so betrayed by a filmmaker. Like never before or since have I felt so betrayed. I hated that movie so much. It was just one of those moments where you walk out and you're like, what did I, like, I want my money back. What did I just watch? And so since then I hadn't really given him a shot, which is why I never watched Split or Glass.
I see.
So, but now I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. And he just put out that movie Old and everybody talked crap about it and said it was super terrible. So I just don't know. I don't know how to feel about him. Is he like a misunderstood genius or is he a hack who like sucks? I don't know.
Have you seen any M. Night Shyamalan movies?
Well, I Googled his name, right? Because I was going to say no. I just put M. Night and it came up. So. But okay. I Googled his name and I'm like, okay, yeah, I have not seen any of his movies. But I was scrolling through his credits and this movie popped up and I'm like, he didn't direct this. Stuart Little.
Really?
Stuart Little.
But I click it, right? And it says...
Like the live action one?
No, like the cartoon.
Like that. And it says, see the connection. So I was like, okay, because the director of Stuart Little is actually Rob Minkoff. Minkoff? And I said, okay, well, what's the connection here? And it says he did an uncredited rewrite on the script and a very good one that got the movie greenlit.
Oh.
So
hey.
But then I also saw, I don't know, I haven't clicked on this one, but She's All That. He's not the director in that one either, so I don't know what he did for that.
How
one.
he's connected to that in some way.
So no, I have not seen any M. Night Shyamalan.
I feel like
movies.
M. Night Shyamalan's like name that you hear but never. Like for me, I've always known his name, but I never watched his movie.
Yeah, I have not seen a single movie.
See, I would. Do you know the Sixth Sense? Like,
Yeah,
you know
I've
the
just
plot
never
of it
seen
already.
it. Yeah,
You know the ending or no?
No, I don't really know much about it. To be
Okay,
honest.
so like I feel like if you don't know very much about it, go watch that.
Okay.
That movie, really, Bruce Willis is in it.
Okay.
And Haley Joel Osment when he was like a little kid.
Okay.
Really, really good. And I feel like M. Night Shyamalan still has a career because of how good The Sixth Sense was.
Okay.
So everybody has everyone's like, maybe he'll get another one. Maybe we'll be able to like recreate the magic. And he just hasn't been able to recreate the magic. And I think part of that is because the story was really good. The acting was really good. You even have like Donnie Wahlberg in that movie for like 2 seconds who like completely transformed his body for his role. Like it was just really great. Everybody fully committed to it. But you have to not know the ending. So like
I don't.
Yeah, so go watch that. But yeah, I think he's just been trying to revisit the magic and he hasn't been able to do it.
I feel like he does there's like this thing where his titles with just like one word are like, like Split and Glass and Unbreakable. Like these are all, I feel like these are
Old.
like, these sound like good movies. But then there's like ones with 2 movies. I didn't know he made this many movies. There's The Village, The Visit, After Earth. I didn't know he like is the Will Smith and Jaden Smith one that everybody hates.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, and then The Sixth Sense is 3 words, but the other 3-word movie is The Last Airbender. So I was like, you can't even really use that theory.
You can't use that theory. That's true. That's true. They just got progressively worse, I think. Because I was right. Unbreakable came out right after The Sixth Sense. And then Signs and The Village, I feel like those 4 were like, okay. Okay. And then Lady in the Water was the drop off and he just never recovered.
Is it really that bad?
Dude, it's so bad. There's no freaking plot. The idea behind Lady in the Water is he used to tell his kids a bedtime story. And as a parent does, they just make up random crap when they tell bedtime stories, right? I tell my kids bedtime stories all the time. I turned into a tree the other night. Like, you just make up whatever, right? But most people don't make a movie out of the random crap that they make up to tell their children. And M. Night Shyamalan, for whatever reason, was like, I've got a great idea.
It's like a suspense movie, right?
It was supposed to be, and it was supposed to be like a fantasy. It just, I don't even know what it was. Like, I remember walking out and thinking, I can't even try to tell you what he was trying to do with that movie. You know what I mean? Like what the point was. I don't even know. It was so bad. And I've seen a lot of bad movies. Josie and the Pussycats, Joe Dirt. I've seen a lot of bad movies. This one is in like the bottom 3 worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's really bad.
Good to know.
Lady in the Water.
Don't watch it. Or like get super high or something and then watch it and then report back.
We do not
and let me know.
on Pop Culture Junkie podcast.
I don't know about you.
It's legal in Arizona. Get drunk, whatever. Do whatever legal thing you can do. But there's a million famous people in it. Jeffrey Wright's in it. Bryce Dallas Howard's in it.
I think this has a good cast too, because Bruce Willis, James McAvoy, Samuel L. Jackson, Sarah Paulson, these are all really these are good names, and really, I feel like they really shine and like use their talent in this movie.
I agree.
So, I mean, I give props to M. Night for this one. I mean, they're good actors already, so it's good that he's able to be able to really create or bring this story to life. Because I did find myself thinking yo, if I just believe in myself a little more, maybe I can float 6 feet in the air,
Hey, isn't that David Blaine? Isn't that his whole thing? Like street magician? He's like, I'm just doing stuff that anybody could do.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness.
I want to bring up Bruce Willis and his character because Bruce Willis in the movie played a character who had something wrong with his brain, according to Sarah Paulson. And then in real life now, he was just diagnosed with aphasia, which is a brain disorder that affects how you are able to speak and communicate with other people. And I just think it's kind of a coincidence that, obviously it's not the same kind of disorder that he has, but it has something to do with the brain. Yeah. And he probably had it while filming this movie because it was 2019 and he just got diagnosed in 2022. And it was said that people who's worked on movies with have noticed it way before he even did. So he probably had it while he was filming this, playing someone who had a brain disorder while he himself had a brain disorder.
Wow.
It was really weird watching this, knowing that this is one of the last movies that he
it's pretty
made.
sad.
Really?
Because he can't make movies anymore.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
He can't talk.
Yeah.
Where am I? What?
Yeah.
I just now finding out.
His wife posted about it. And,
recently?
Rumor Willis posted, Yeah, it happened probably a couple months ago that they came out and said it.
Yeah. It's really sad.
So he's probably been going through tests and stuff for maybe a year or so and just found out.
What was the last movie he was in?
I don't know.
I want to pull up his thing.
You got it?
Maybe.
Try to think. I know he was in Friends, but that was a long time ago.
He's an icon of so many things. Last movie on his credits is a movie called White Elephant that came out this year.
Oh.
But yeah, even the last couple movies he's done, he was in a movie called Vendetta, a movie called Corrective Measures, a bunch of movies just this year in 2022, which is crazy.
Oh, wow.
But the thing is that they're all I hate to say this, but kind of C-list movies, not you know what I mean? They're all kind of bargain bin movies.
Yeah.
And he has smaller roles in all of them, which
There was a Die Hard that came out recently, wasn't there?
Glass was the last big budget movie that he was in, and that was 2019.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That sucks.
Yeah, so he's been in all these bargain bin movies and had these smaller roles, which leads me to believe that after Glass, he was probably battling all of this stuff, and that's why he wasn't being cast in big budget things, and was probably just trying to take work while he could.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was sad. I was watching this, and the whole time I just kept thinking he's one of the greats, and we just won't see him in film anymore.
All right,
Yeah.
this is getting really sad. Let's have some fun and do some of these quotes, these lines.
All right.
Sorry.
Bring the energy back up in here. Okay.
All right, cool. So this one is actually with David Dunn, Bruce Willis's character, and Elijah Price. Do either of you guys want to do it?
I don't care.
All right, so I'm going to take that as a yes.
You be
Sure.
David.
Okay.
I'll be Elijah. How you doing, David? I always thought of us as friends.
Elijah?
You shouldn't be hiding in the shadows, David. You're able to hide because people who steal cars and mug people in alleys don't need your full potential. You're only using 1% of your abilities with these petty criminals.
Maybe there's nothing to hide, Elijah.
I have found someone who will require your full potential to come out. A superhuman serial killer.
Don't do this. How can we be the only ones? Maybe we believe something that isn't even true.
We are going to the tallest building in the city. The Horde is going to be revealed there. There are 3 floors that house a chemical company in that building. I am going to blow up that building using their chemicals, David.
You're so evil.
Hold on. You might want to try and stop us.
Uh-oh.
Today is your coming out party. At least you know what to wear. Pushes buttons. I've turned off the water hoses in your room, David. There's only the door left.
Elijah!
You gotta like shake your fist. It's metal, but you can't get through it because people's bones break against metal, and you're nothing special. A lot of people are going to die, Overseer, if you don't get through that door. Okay, so you know what? I'm glad that we read this scene because it reminded me of this whole idea where Sarah Paulson, one of the ways that she tries to convince them that they're not real is there's no other like superheroes, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that like gets to Bruce Willis is like, how come there aren't any others? Like we can't just be us.
Even
there would be other, like there would be more than 3, right? Be more. And I was like, oh, that's actually like a really good point. Like when she brought that up, it had me thinking like, holy crap, is that going to be the plot twist that like they actually don't have powers this whole time? Like she started convincing me. So
yeah, me too, actually.
I don't know. I got gaslit.
All right. I kind of want to be the Beast here. Is that weird?
Do it.
For it.
Okay, you be Elijah this time, then, Nicole.
Okay.
You get to be.
Oh, jeez. They've been lying to us all.
You believe?
Yes, I do. It's what I've believed my whole life.
They are losing faith. My horde is losing faith.
Dude, where's the Oscar? Bring in the Oscar right now.
No.
You're better than
I'll
James
bring
McAvoy.
Oscar Mayer Wiener.
James
I
McAvoy.
take back everything good I said about James McAvoy because
You should see my face right now. I look how stupid I look doing this in front of everybody.
so good. Okay, keep going.
Okay. In comics, you would go to a public place where all could see you, a place celebrating man's pedestrian achievements. But you need David to convince them. You should fight him in the front of the world. The tallest building in this city is opening today. All the cameras in the world will record you. You can convince the Horde and the world at the same time. We exist.
Why are you in this chair, child?
My bones break easily. I was born this way. I've had 94 breaks in my life. I've known only pain.
Rejoice! You have suffered and now are pure.
I assume you were sent here to be an avenging angel. How much do you want to avenge us?
Wait, hold up.
Did I read that?
That was the least wild part of your...
Well, that sounds like the bad guys teaming up. As you go,
Kevin took over. Kevin took over for the.
What?
Oh, that was great. That was good.
All right, let's get to the grading. Let's
all right.
finish this up here.
This is our last one.
This
so
is our
now
last
we
one.
get to
We're
compare
actually
this
finishing.
like across all of the Samuel L. Jackson movies. How we compare.
Let's grade the movie and then Samuel.
Okay.
All right, so do you want to start on
Sure, I
the
can
movie?
start.
What do you think?
The movie itself, from not seeing Unbreakable and Split, I'm gonna give it a B, a straight B, just because I was going into it blind and not really knowing background. But I feel like if I were to have known background and more information on these characters prior, I probably would have given it a higher score. But overall, I was able to understand the whole plot and the story going on behind everything. So I'm gonna give it a B because I think it did a very good job and definitely a superhero movie that I would watch it again.
I'm going to give this one a C. Maybe a C minus. Overall, it was fine. I wouldn't watch it again. I don't feel like my life is much improved having seen it. I mean, I guess I do. I'm glad I got to see McAvoy in that role because it was really like popular at the time. Split was really popular at the time. But yeah, I didn't like the ending, which is par for the course for M. Night Shyamalan movies. The ending kind of ruins the rest of it. And I don't know. Again, it just kind of felt like this Shyamalan passion project, which is like, look at me and this story that I want to tell that isn't actually really worth telling. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a C-.
All right, yeah, I wanted to give it a C+. Coming in, like just thinking like if this is the first time I watched this movie, you know, not really knowing the characters. There are parts where it's just like me, I would have like watched more fights and stuff, like get a little more crazy. But as part of the trilogy, I would give it a B as well. So I'm like kind of stuck in between, you know, because I feel it.
So like as a standalone movie, not so much, but part of the trilogy.
Yeah. I think it being part of the trilogy, honestly, I would even put it up to a B+ because it kind of really wraps things together. And even just going to like, you know, just kind of transitioning into what we think about Samuel Jackson, it kind of goes to what Shauna talks about Sam being like the glue to these storylines. And I think like that's kind of been accurate in all of the movies that we've seen thus far. And yeah, he's the one in this movie where he's bringing these characters together. He sets up this master plan where he, you know, tries to find those powerful people by making a train crash and killing everybody that's in there.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Unbreakable happens. But yeah, I feel in his role here, especially the transition from like that incapable guy in a wheelchair and then becoming the Glass who he knows he is, I thought that was cool. Because at first I was like, yo, is he actually sick? Is he like no more? Like, did he like have a really bad fall? And then he becomes this like genius. And I don't know, I felt like he did a really good job in the role. So I would give him a B+ for this too. I would give him A-. I don't know, somewhere between B+ and A-.
For Samuel? For me, I keep going back and forth if this is more so the movie grade I should have given it or if this is his character. But I feel like it was the movie, so whatever. We already did that. But for his character-wise, I feel like for what he was given, I hate saying this, but I'm going to give him a C. I don't know. I feel like he came in way too late in the movie when the movie was titled after his character, in my opinion. So that's where I was trying to figure out if it's a movie thing or if it's a character thing. But that's definitely a movie thing and the director and everything. He comes in so late and then he doesn't talk until much later after he's come into the movie. So that kind of threw me off a little bit, finding out that he is Glass. I'm like, okay, if you're Glass, why are you coming in like an hour into the movie?
Yeah.
So for that, sorry, I'm changing. Okay, movie score. I'm going back to movie score for that reason that he doesn't come in. I apologize. I'm going back a little bit. Movie score, I'm giving it a C. His character, I'm going to give him a B. I'm going to flip-flop it.
All right, yeah, that works.
Because of that reason, I'm going to credit that to the movie aspect and not his acting aspect. So acting-wise, a B, movie C.
I think I'd probably stick with a C for his acting, not saying that his acting wasn't good, just comparatively across the board to like the other things that we've seen him do. He was able to shine in his other roles in a way that
Coach Carter, like I feel like
that's my favorite movie that we've seen.
Yeah, and Pulp Fiction. I mean, like he was able to really kind of step into this like iconic role, and even like I know Captain Marvel as a standalone, maybe not so much, but his role as a whole as Nick Fury throughout like the MCU. I'm like I can't picture anybody else as Nick Fury. I can't picture anybody else as Coach Carter. I can't picture anybody else. And in this, I'm like I could probably picture anybody else.
So this is like the only movie he's like bound to a wheelchair. So you think that like has, because he's limited as an actor. It's like what he can do.
Yeah, and I think it's also because of what they do with James McAvoy. I think
I would agree.
It's he pulls focus in a way that even Bruce Willis in this movie like is just not really. He's kind of a non-factor.
Yeah.
So, and again, not necessarily that's his fault, but just looking across all the things. So, yeah, I'd probably give him a C. Out of everything that we watched, what do you guys think was the best top tier Samuel L. Jackson movie? If you had to tell everybody there's just one Samuel L. Jackson movie out there that you need to watch, what is it?
I mean, I feel like Coach Carter is still the best movie out of all of these. Would I recommend somebody to go watch it? I don't know. I don't really recommend like sports movies because I have weird feelings towards them. I get sad all the time. So, I mean, I would say that for movie-wise and like his performance and just overall, I would say number 1, Coach Carter.
I would definitely agree. Coach Carter, I feel, well, for me, I like sports movies. I am into sports, so that was my number 1 movie, probably going into it no matter what, before knowing any of these other movies. But I also think that was his most on-camera work.
Yeah, he was more...
Out of all the movies that we watched, definitely. I feel like he was on camera the most in that movie, and the movie was named after his character, and he was in it the entire time. Whereas this one, he was in it for like half of it. So I'm definitely going to say Coach Carter. I would recommend it. I feel like the storyline is very good and well put together. It's
definitely a great sports movie.
Yeah.
So I would say Coach Carter as well.
Yeah, I would say if someone wants to see a Samuel L. Jackson movie for Samuel L. Jackson specifically, I would say Shaft. That was the one that was
I forgot we watched that.
Yeah, Shaft. That was like the Samuel L. Jackson movie. But that being said, it wasn't like my favorite. My favorite out of all the movies we watched was Captain Marvel. But would I say that's a vehicle for Samuel L. Jackson? Not necessarily. So
yeah, I would agree. Because Shaft, I feel like that is where he shines the most. Even compare that to Coach Carter, but I feel because we're so used to seeing Samuel Jackson in like these like action movies like Pulp Fiction and Captain Marvel, and even just like things like, I mean, I've never seen the movie, but like Black Snake Moan, like these like thriller looking sort of like characters, like these like gritty characters. Coach Carter's not that. And I think that's also why it's so good, because you really jump out of the thing that we're so used to watching him be.
good point.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, let's close it up with some links here.
Let's do it.
All right.
You can find me, Hayley, on Instagram at 30 Nerdy Thriving. I don't know why that sounded like it was a question. But you can. It's true.
All right, Nicole, where can we find you?
You can find me, Nicole, on Instagram and TikTok at Nicole_Aldridge, and on Twitter at NAAldridge14.
All right, and I'm Alex at ALCASNUN on Instagram and Twitter. Visit us online at popculturejunkie.com, Facebook at Pop Culture Junkie Podcast, and join the support group, Pop Culture Junkie Support Group. Follow us on Twitter at Pop Junkies, Instagram at pop.culturejunkies, and next time we'll be studying a new subject in Pop Culture 101.
I'm so excited.
Yes, sir. When we look at the films of Winona Ryder, starting with Beetlejuice. And so you already know.
I'm hyped.
Yeah, me too. I love Winona Ryder.
I'm so excited to talk about Winona Ryder. And fun fact, technically she's married to Keanu Reeves. We'll talk all about that.
Oh, I heard about this.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to come back for another hit of pop culture.
Pop Culture Junkie is a production of Pop Culture Entertainment Group.
So entertain me.